When was the last time you did absolutely nothing? No phone, no podcast, no music, no productive activity. Just you sitting there, existing like a houseplant. If you can't remember, you're not alone. And that's a massive problem. Let me introduce you to Alaric. 3 months ago, Alaric had a full-blown panic attack in a coffee shop. Not because something terrible happened, but because his phone died, he forgot his book, and he had to wait 15 minutes with absolutely zero distractions. 15 minutes of existing with his own thoughts nearly sent him to the emergency room. His heart was racing, his palms were sweating, his brain was screaming, "Do something, anything, please." That's when Alaric realized he'd forgotten how to do nothing, and it was destroying him. Today, I'm going to show you why your inability to do nothing is secretly ruining your mental health, your creativity, and weirdly, your productivity. And no, this isn't some meditation guru telling you to find your zen. This is neuroscience. Your brain is literally starving for boredom, and you keep force-feeding it content. Here's what happened to Alaric before that coffee shop meltdown. His routine was a masterclass in constant stimulation. Wake up, check phone before eyes fully open, shower while listening to a podcast, breakfast while scrolling news, commute with music, lunch while watching YouTube, evening with Netflix. Before bed, more scrolling, sleep, repeat. Every single second was filled. His brain never got a break, not once. From the moment consciousness arrived until sleep forcefully shut everything down, Alaric's mind was consuming information. And here's the thing. He thought this was normal, efficient even. I'm always learning, always entertained, never wasted time. Except his anxiety was through the roof. He couldn't focus on complex tasks, his creativity had vanished, and he felt exhausted despite doing nothing physically demanding. So what's actually happening in your brain when you fill every second with stimulation? Your brain has two networks. The task-positive network, which activates when you're focused on external activities, reading, working, scrolling, watching, anything that directs attention outward. Then there's the default mode network, which kicks in when you're doing absolutely nothing. The default mode network is where the magic happens. It's where your brain processes experiences, consolidates memories, makes unexpected connections, and literally figures out who you are. It's not rest, it's essential maintenance. But here's the problem. Your default mode network only activates when you're genuinely idle, not listening to a calming playlist idle, not going for a walk while on a phone call idle. Actually, truly, deeply idle. Alaric's default mode network hadn't fully activated in years. His brain was like a computer with 47 tabs open, running constantly, never allowed to process anything. No wonder he felt like he was losing his mind. The coffee shop incident was his breaking point. Sitting there, phone dead, no escape routes available, Alaric's brain essentially threw a tantrum. It didn't know what to do with the emptiness. The silence felt violent. His thoughts got loud and uncomfortable, but he didn't leave. He couldn't. His order wasn't ready yet, so he just sat, breathing, existing, feeling wildly uncomfortable. 5 minutes in, something weird happened. A memory from childhood surfaced randomly, building a treehouse with his dad. He hadn't thought about that in 15 years. Then another thought. That work problem he'd been stuck on suddenly had a potential solution. Then another. He realized he'd been ignoring a friend who needed support. His brain was finally processing, making connections, doing its job. When he left that coffee shop, Alaric felt different. Not relaxed exactly, but clearer. Like someone had defragmented his mental hard drive. That's when he started researching. Turns out every brilliant idea, every creative breakthrough, every moment of clarity happens when you're not actively trying. They happen in the shower, on walks, staring out windows, during boredom. Here's what blew Alaric's mind. Studies show that people who allow themselves regular periods of idleness are more creative, better problem solvers, and significantly less anxious. Boredom isn't the enemy of productivity, it's the foundation. But we've been taught the opposite. Hustle culture tells us every moment should be optimized. Self-improvement content says always be learning. We don't just sit on the couch anymore. We sit on the couch while simultaneously watching TV, checking Instagram, and online shopping. We've become allergic to emptiness, and it's making us sick. Alaric decided to experiment. He called it strategic nothingness. Not meditation, not mindfulness, just deliberate, intentional periods of doing absolutely nothing. Week 1 was brutal. He started small, 10 minutes in the morning. No devices, no activities, just sitting in a chair, existing. His brain rioted. The discomfort was physical. Every cell in his body screamed to grab the phone, turn on TV, read something, do anything. The urge was almost unbearable, but he sat through it. And slowly, the panic subsided. His thoughts wandered. Some were productive, some were random. Some were uncomfortable emotions he'd been outrunning with constant distraction. By week 2, something shifted. Those 10 minutes stopped feeling like torture. His mind started anticipating the space. Ideas would bubble up. Problems would untangle themselves. He'd emerge from the nothingness with clarity he couldn't manufacture through thinking harder. Week 4, he extended to 20 minutes. morning and evening. His friends thought he'd joined a cult. You just sit there, doing nothing? That's weird, man. But the results were undeniable. His anxiety decreased dramatically. He could focus on deep work for hours without burning out. His creativity returned. He started writing again, something he'd abandoned years ago because he didn't have ideas anymore. The ideas were always there. His brain just never had space to surface them. Here's Alaric's exact framework for reclaiming the art of nothingness. First, start absurdly small. Don't aim for an hour of meditation. Start with 5 minutes. Sit somewhere comfortable. Set a timer. Do nothing. No music, no mantras, no trying to clear your mind. Just exist. Your brain will protest. Let it. Second, create unavoidable boredom. Leave your phone in another room sometimes. Take a walk without earbuds. Sit in your car for 5 minutes before going inside. Manufacture moments where distraction isn't available. Third, embrace the discomfort. The anxiety you feel during nothingness, that's not a sign you're doing it wrong. That's your brain detoxing from constant stimulation. It passes, I promise. Fourth, track what emerges. This is crucial. Alaric started noticing patterns. Big ideas came during morning nothingness. Emotional processing happened in evening sessions. Solutions to problems appeared seemingly out of nowhere. And here's where having structure helps. I created a free productivity planner that's perfect for this practice. Link is in the description. Download it and use it to document what happens when you stop filling every second. 3 months into his strategic nothingness practice, Alaric's life transformed in ways he didn't expect. His relationships improved because he was actually present during conversations, not mentally planning his next task. His work quality increased because he could think deeply instead of skimming surfaces. His creativity exploded because his brain finally had space to wander and play. But the biggest change was internal. Alaric stopped feeling like he was constantly running from something. The anxiety that had hummed in the background for years started to quiet. He realized he'd been using constant stimulation to avoid feeling things: boredom, loneliness, uncertainty, discomfort. By forcing himself to sit with nothingness, he had to face those feelings. And they weren't as scary as his avoidance suggested. They were just feelings, temporary, manageable, human. Here's what nobody tells you about doing nothing. It's not about becoming calm or zen or enlightened. It's about remembering how to be a person instead of a content consumption machine. Your brain evolved over millions of years to have downtime, to wander, to process, to rest. It did not evolve to have information blasted at it from the moment you wake until the moment you collapse. We're living in the most stimulated era in human history, and we're calling it normal. We're calling constant distraction staying informed. We're calling inability to be alone with our thoughts efficiency. But look around. Everyone's anxious. Nobody can focus. Creativity feels rare. We're all exhausted despite never physically exerting ourselves. Maybe, just maybe, we're not designed to operate this way. Alaric's coffee shop panic attack was a gift. It forced him to confront something he'd been avoiding, himself. When you strip away the podcasts, the videos, the articles, the constant noise, what's left? You. Just you. And that's either terrifying or liberating, depending on whether you've spent any time getting to know yourself lately. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people are afraid of nothingness because they're afraid of what might surface. Regrets, unprocessed emotions, uncomfortable truths, big questions without easy answers. So we scroll, we consume, we fill the void with anything that keeps us from looking inward. But that avoidance has a cost. You can't process what you don't acknowledge. You can't solve problems you don't give space to surface. So here's your challenge. Tomorrow, do nothing for 10 minutes. It will feel weird. Your brain will rebel. You'll want to quit after 3 minutes. Do it anyway. Notice what happens, what thoughts emerge, what feelings surface, what ideas appear. Then drop a comment and tell me, what came up during your nothingness? What did your brain do when you finally gave it space? And if this video convinced you that maybe, just maybe, you need more boredom in your life, hit that like button. And if you're ready to stop being a stimulation addict and start being a person again, subscribe. Your brain is starving. Feed it some emptiness. See you in the next one.